What's up, YouTubers? Welcome back. Today we are taking a look at a Boss Fight Studios figure. This is from Series 2. And this is the Vitruvian Hacks, which stands for Highly Articulated Character Kit System. And his name is Lord Vehemous, Dragon Cult War Priest. He comes in this oversized bubble, so you can see all the accessories in the figure. And over on the left, on the card back, there's an absolutely fantastic picture of Lord Vehemous himself. We flip it over. You can see the other figures that come in Series 2. And what's interesting is they actually included a historical documentation bio card on Lord Vehemous. Feel free to pause it and read what it actually says. And I'll go ahead and read actually the first sentence. It says, self-proclaimed leader of a sect which worships dragons as avatars of the gods. One thing I like about the Boss Fight Studios is this actual packaging is collector friendly. And what I mean by that is you can just flip this tab over, slide the back card out, take the figure out, display him as you wish, or when you're done displaying him on your shelf, you can put him right back in his packaging and show him off in this fashion. But you know me, I say open them up and see what's inside. Here we have everything laid out on the table, and as you can see, there's absolutely no shortage of accessories from the Boss Fight Studio line. He comes with an entire slew of different weapons, some false animal skins that actually go on the figure. He comes with another set of hands, a book of spells, this really cool helmet, an additional head sculpt which is in the shape of a skull, and of course the figure himself. We're going to go ahead and start looking at all the accessories and weapons that he comes with. First up is this mace on its long staff. And on the end of it, you can see this very sharp, silver-painted spearhead with the gold trim. Coming up on this end is the actual mace itself, which is cobalt blue. This has a little bit of gold trim. The second weapon is a more functional mace. You can see this is actually on a chain, and yep, this chain is actually metal. Here's the sculpting on the actual handle. Has a silver point on this. Great blue wrapping around it. And again, the actual mace is also cobalt blue. What a devastating weapon. We'll bring in the longsword next. This has a dull silver blade to it, with some great etching down the center, with a gold hilt, blue handle, and gold pommel. Nice design. And this sword actually comes with its own sheath. And this is actually dark blue with some leather strapping and gold highlights. And there's a peg right here that actually pegs onto the figure. Let's slide the sword in so you can get a better look. Beautiful. Next, we'll take a look at the short sword or dagger. It's a double-edged weapon. And again, it has the same deco as the longsword with the gold pommel and gold hilt. Great looking detail. And this comes with its own short scabbard. Again with the leather wrapping around it. Dark blue and gold highlights. And of course this also has a peg to put on the figure. Put this in here so you can take a look. Let's take a look at the other accessories. And over here is the actual faux animal skins. And there's three parts to this. Those are for the shoulders that actually port on top of the shoulder. And this part is actually a cape that hangs on the back. Look at all this great detail and sculpting. Highlights in just the right color. Absolutely amazing. And here's the peg system that actually ports on the shoulder of the figure. We'll put that on the figure afterwards. Here's the cape. They've even gone so far as painting these silver rings at the bottom of the straps. And yep, they actually sculpted the inside to look like leather as well. It's nice and textured. Let's see, we'll take a look at the hands next. And these are nicely sculpted in the same armor color as the figure. And you'll notice Boss Fight actually gives you two sets of hands, and this set of hands pivots in this direction, whereas those hands go in the up and down direction. So you can swap those out pretty easily. Here's the Book of Spells. Look at the amazing texture of this book. Looks like it's got faux leather covering, gold highlights, and there's his actual symbol on the front. There's a tassel here, or a chain. Same on this side. They actually wash the top of the pages, but unfortunately it doesn't open. And right here, there's a peg. She can hang on Vehemous's belt. And I can only imagine him using this to summon all sorts of dragons. Taking a look at the ominous helmet he comes with. This is in the same color as his armor. And on top there's these ram horns that are perfectly sculpted and pretty scary looking. You can see this helmet's been through the war. It's got some dings on it and great looking texture and base on the front. Absolutely amazing detail all the way around. A little bit of faux cloth on the back, and this is actually pliable, so it slips right on the figure's head pretty easily. And for his final accessory, he comes with this additional head. And this is obviously a skull. Again, really scary looking. Absolutely amazing paintwork and sculpture on this thing. There's an extra peg that just ports on the figure. The design, the texture, with just the right lighting, you wouldn't be able to tell if this thing was real or not. Boss Fight Studios is absolutely amazing, and they actually included the scar over the left eye, just like Lord Vehemous. Now before I bring Vehemous in close to the camera, I want to put on the rest of his wardrobe right here, these parts, and then we'll bring him in nice and close. And now that I have his fur pauldrons and cape on, let's look at the paint and sculpt. Starting off with his face, he has an absolutely intense stare about him. Boss Fight Studios takes absolute pride in their figures and sculpting, as well as their paint. He has a scar over his left eye. Look at that mean looking stare. Got a gray beard and short gray hair. Magnificent. And I don't find any paint slop anywhere on this figure. The fur pauldrons rest high enough to look realistic on the figure. And coming down to the front, you can see all the weathered pattern and texture and damage on his armor. And it actually has a dimple pattern to it. Great looking texture. Coming down to his waist, he has multiple leather belts with gold highlights. And down around his skirting, this is actually red leather or faux red leather. It's pretty pliable. Nice weather effect here with the wrinkles and texture. And with this figure in hand, you can actually tell the amount of care and thought and design that went into his sculpting. Let me lift this back, and you can see he has dark blue wrinkled pants with high brown leather boots. And again, these look weathered just enough to look realistic. Looking at his shoulders, you see the armor goes all the way down the length of his arm. Great looking sculpting here, and just look at these medieval gloves that's on his hands. Full finger protection, same great armor. Now right here is a gold ring, and that's where you would actually hang one of his swords. There's actually a port right here to hang some accessories off of. We'll take a look at the back, and you can see the faux fur cape as it drapes down his back. It's nice and pliable, and there's actually a peg system in the back right there to hang something off of if you need to. And look at the buttons right around his belt. Absolutely meticulous paint. All the way down to the bottom with the white highlights. And of course on this side, same great armor with another gold ring to hang something off of, and another port right there on his thigh to hang something off of. Plenty of storage options on this figure. I believe he's still available on the Boss Fight Studios website if you're interested. And I gotta tell you, putting him on the shelf, you could just stare at this figure all day long. It's time to go over the articulation of Lord Vehemous. And one thing I didn't show earlier was, it actually comes with this figure stand. It's got the Boss Fight Studio emblem on it, 2 pegs for each one of his feet, and they actually hollowed out the underside just enough to put on your shelf. Okay, as we usually do, we'll start with this head. This is on a dumbbell joint, so we can look left and right. And of course, this has really great dynamic range of motion. Gets some pretty good expressive poses out of him. You can look up this far. He can tuck in his chin really deeply. And coming down to his waist, or his upper chest, this is on a ball joint. And again, this full range of motion here. Nothing in the waist. And that's because of the construction of the actual figure. You can do the splits this far. And even though this is in the way, it's still pliable enough to get a front Spartan kick.
This is Sparta!
He has a double joint at the knee, which bends really well. And coming down to his boot can only make his foot go up this far, but it can point his toe just like this. And of course this rotates 360 degrees if you need to. Coming up to his shoulders, his arms go up this far, and those pauldrons don't get in the way at all. These rotate 360 degrees. A 90-degree bend at the elbow. And of course this rotates 360 degrees. His wrists rotate 360 degrees. And as I said earlier, these hands actually go up and down, whereas the other set of hands go in the opposite direction. And those poured in pretty easily. So with all this wardrobe and fur and cape on, you can still get really great range of motion. Let me grab his figure stand. We'll put his feet in this, and he can stand on your shelf, no problem at all. Let's wrap up this review by doing some size comparisons. Let me bring in a G.I. Joe Ultimate Storm Shadow. And of course we can't forget a Joy Toy figure. Let me grab a Marvel Universe Frank Castle Punisher figure. And it wouldn't be a review without showing off a custom Marauders figure, so here's Hollow Point. And here you can see the Boss Fight Studios line fits in with all your 1/18 scale figures. Well, it's going to end my review of the Boss Fight Studios Lord Vehemous figure. He has fantastic paint sculpt, accessories, and if you're into the medieval Dungeons and Dragons or things of that nature, you will not be disappointed. Boss Fight Studios puts nothing but care and artistry in all their figures. So go ahead and pick them up. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like what you see, join the community and hit that subscribe button. And remember, share your knowledge.